No. It starts with the bean.
You sound like a barista. Wow, have you been watching YouTube videos?
We're not buying any, what was that cheap beer that you used to buy?
I don't know. I don't want to. I don't have the dollar beer on the case. Yes.
Yeah, that's not how we do
the old
coffee.
Lucky Lager.
That is not how we do coffee.
That's not how we do coffee.
Not at all.
So is that a? I can't tell if that's like a below regular coffee or is this like the sought after cold coffee?
No, it's a taste preference. So some people like iced coffee and some people don't.
Do you drink your soup cold?
I would drink gazpacho cold.
Yeah, gazpacho. That's what. Okay.
But I'm not going to drink cold chicken noodle soup.
It's
different.
I've seen my brother do that. I came into the kitchen when we were young, and he would eat everything, and he was spoon into the Campbell's mushroom soup
In the can.
Straight out the can. And I had no words for him. I just looked at him and, like, what do you say? There's nothing to say. It's just like, that's the grossest thing you could ever eat. I do not like mushroom soup to begin with. All right, let's get our readings on. Let's get the spiritual life on. Yeah.
I don't think you need to act weird.
Okay. Dog walks in. What do you think?
What are you doing?
What do you think is more distracting, the 2 dogs or the 2 children that were in the previous?
The 2 children are way cuter.
I think it's just its heart.
I think it would depend who you are.
Uh-oh. Hey. I'm back.
If you're dog people or children people. Or a single person living alone, which is probably not.
Single person living alone with 2
them.
kids and 2 dogs.
No. I'm just saying if you're used to a quiet home, you're probably not going to enjoy either distraction. That's all I'm saying.
Plants are good. They're not distraction. Plants are good. Look, it's just sitting there. Just needs water once a month.
I feel like hitting you with this book.
Why? What's wrong with plants?
Okay. Problems are made to be solved. Solving problems. Problems are made to be solved. Some of us spend more time reacting to the fact that we have a problem than we do solving the problem. Why is this happening to me? Isn't life awful? How come this had to happen? Oh dear, this is terrible. Why is God, the universe, an agency, a person, or life picking on me? Problems are inevitable. Some problems can be anticipated. Some are surprises, but the idea that problems occur regularly need never be a surprise. The good news is that for every problem, there's a solution. Sometimes the solution is immediate. Sometimes it takes a while to discover. Sometimes the solution involves letting go. Sometimes the problem is ours to solve. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes there is something we can clearly do to solve the problem. Other times we need to struggle, flounder, do our part, then trust our higher power for help. Sometimes the problem is just part of life. Sometimes the problem is important because we are learning something through the problem and its solution. Sometimes problems end up working out for good in our life. They get us headed in a direction that is superior to one we may otherwise have taken. Sometimes problems just are. Sometimes they are a warning sign that we are on the right track. We can learn to accept problems as an inevitable part of life. We can learn to solve problems. We can learn to trust our ability to solve problems. We can learn to identify which problems are trying to lead us in a new direction and which simply ask for solving. We can learn to focus on the solution rather than on the problem and maintain a positive attitude towards life and the inevitable flow of problems and solutions. Today, I will learn to trust solutions rather than be victimized by problems. I will not use problems to prove I am helpless, picked on, or martyred. I will not point to my problems to prove how awful life is. I will learn to trust the flow of problems and solutions. God, help me solve the problems I can solve today. Help me let go of the rest. Help me believe in my ability to tackle and solve problems. Help me trust the flow. For each problem, there is a solution.
It's problematic. That's good.
felt a little bit repetitive and confused
Yeah.
at points in there.
I'm so
Is it
glad
just me?
you were reading
Okay.
it. I was like,
I
she
really
stuck
had to
on the same
focus.
paragraph.
And then all I could hear was the tick, tick, tick of the dog's nails.
Oh
and
my
I was like
goodness,
struggling to focus.
We were on the same thought patterns. Those are all problems that we have to solve.
So, I think
I was reminded of social media and somebody saying, like, there's a lot of people that post their problems on social media, and I heard somebody say 90% of viewers don't care, and 9% of viewers are glad you have the problem, and then the 1% are like actually praying for you.
I know you've shared that before.
No, thank you. I like it.
But the thing is, I think that we can get stuck in focusing on our problems, and even in the book that I'm reading about learning to identify feelings, and it talks a lot. There's like a good section of a chapter about how our negative feelings like come so much to the surface, and then the positive feelings, there's not really room for them. And I feel like it's the same thing. Like when we have a problem, it takes up so much headspace and so much of our did she say that in here?
Well, and problems cause fear, resentment. If I continue to dwell on the problem and just awfulize that I have a problem, reacting to the fact that I have a problem, and when I started to understand that in the recovery terms, and in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says my problems are of all of my problems are of my own making. And that's a bold statement, because I know that there are tornadoes, and I know that there are tornadoes in your life, at your workplace, in your bank account, on your health. I understand that. But what they're saying is my problems aren't the problems, they're how I react to them. And so if I can understand that the problems inside of me are of my own making, and my job is basically to show love and tolerance and to practice forgiveness and empathy and focusing on passing on the message. How can I be a service to others? How can I be a service to God? How can I be salt and light to the community around me, and not worried about these problems and even trying to solve them? I solve them by getting out of myself for the most part.
Well, I think an important step too is recognizing, like, is this actually even my problem? Because I think oftentimes I got enough problems of my own. I actually don't need your problems. Like, and it's not, relationships are so complicated, and
so many people wear other people's problems. They let their problems be their problems.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I've already said this here too, but one of my friends said her sponsor told her, stop painting red flags green. And she's like, because she'd meet a guy and there'd be all these red flags, but she'd paint them green and like, oh no, blah, 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 and so and then how many more problems does that bring into your life when you get into a relationship with someone and, there was a few red flags and maybe it wasn't like, didn't look like such a great idea, but we're so attracted to each other. And
I think our human mind can go, I have to solve the problem of loneliness. I have to solve the problem of finding a mate, finding a roommate, finding somebody to live with, finding somebody.
But loneliness is a real problem.
Yeah, but let
lots
God
of people
solve those problems.
And
it's not your problem to solve.
The solution that people see to solving that problem of loneliness is relationships. And so a lonely person is aching, like they're aching inside, and they're on social media or they're on their cell phone and they're seeing people, but they're not really connected to those people. And that creates actually even more and more feelings
anxiety,
of loneliness and
fear.
Isolation, but also envy. And envy is actually like a big emotion that we have that most of us probably don't, according to the book that I'm reading, that most of us don't. I don't want to sound like a professional, but I am reading a book. And he talked about how like actually envy is a big problem, and our devices, being on social media and being like so far away from people, but yet looking into their lives constantly, it's creating more and more feelings of loneliness. And learning how to sit in my own loneliness. And I mean, I know that you can be lonely being in a relationship. You can be lonely being in a marriage. You can be lonely having children. You can be lonely surrounded by people, just as much as you can be lonely by yourself. And so the problem isn't really going to be solved by outside people.
Well, I think a lot of our problems are from within us, the anxiety, the depression, the gloom and doom, and recovery actually gets us out of that because we're supposed to pass on the message and be used to God. And I heard it said that just like eating processed food is horrible for your body, looking at partial conversations, so social media is all partial conversations, it's like
Snippets.
processed food for your brain. And so it actually causes fattiness and laziness and anxiety and envy and all those things. Let's go help somebody. Let's go feed somebody. Let's go do something. Solve our problems. I think God solves the problems and we just try to make more less of them. All right.
I think that that's a great prayer to even like start with, and for, you know, even for people that don't really know how to pray, it's just like starting with, you know, God, I want to trust solutions instead of being victimized by problems, and not point to my problems to prove how awful my life is. I want to learn to trust the flow of problems and solutions. Help me to solve the problems that I can solve today. Help me let go of the rest. Help me to believe in my ability to tackle and solve my problems. Help me trust the flow.
Well, and we have a God that has good for us. He's a good God. And instead of taking our problems to everybody else, take them to Him and cry to Him day and night like a little kid asking to go to the park. Like that kid is relentless. He doesn't give up. And God wants that from us. Like, come to me, come to me.
And I mean, it changed our lives. That changed our lives. It wasn't like there was like this, you know, magical day where we went from being crazy. we were really mentally unwell, spiritually unwell, emotionally unwell. We were so unwell. And that process of like constantly just saying like, God, I can't do this, and I need you to do this. I need you to help me.
And well, we're still on a process for the rest of our lives. But that doesn't mean that we can't be a useful tool to God.
Miles from where we were
light
before.
years, some would say. All right, we are out. It's Thursday.
You don't even know what day it is.
Is it Thursday?
Yes, it is.
Thursday. It is Thursday all day today.
All day.
Enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day. Let God solve your problems. Take them to Him, not to Facebook or Instagram. He wants to solve your problems. He is faithful.